Hello and welcome to the channel again. This is Sam trying to spin to win on Swift. Well, if I'm honest, I didn't expect to be here today. I thought I was definitely coming down with something after my very poor showing in the ITT yesterday. But slept okay, woke up feeling okay. Although I have picked up a cold, that's for sure. But another day, another FRR race for me. At least give it a go and see how I feel. No philosophical discussions today, no e-gap, no combined pens, and I'm sure some of you guys are happy about that.
Yes, we are.
And today we're doing a portion of the Petit Boucle course. And yes, we are going up the Acqueduc and specifically the Petit again.
I'm getting so tired of this.
So, let's have a quick look at the CRP GC leaderboard after 5 stages and see just how far I fell.
Way down there.
On the back of my lackluster ITT yesterday. We'll then have a quick look at the course and then we'll just get into the action. Let's see how we get on today. Let's have a quick look at the CRP GC leaderboard after 5 stages. Caleb Barrows is now in first place, moving up from second yesterday, whereas Mr. Frim drops down 1 spot to second place. Beto Kadavid is now in third place. My teammate Peter had a very strong ITT yesterday and is now in 5th place. Go Peter! As expected, after my less than ideal result yesterday, I have
Fell off a cliff.
off the first page and now find myself in 32nd place. I knew I was likely to drop a bit yesterday, but not this much.
You are soft, weak!
However, it is what it is, and we go again in today's race. Now a quick look at today's course. Today we're doing a shortened version of the Petit Boucle course. At 38 kilometers with 320 meters of elevation, it should take around an hour to complete. We should all be getting familiar with these features now. But today we'll go over the Acqueduc twice, and of course my favorite,
I'm sick and tired of this crap!
the Petit. Normally, I would say that the main separation will come on the Petit, but I think people, and that includes me for sure,
It sure does.
are starting to get a bit fatigued. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some splits occur on the first go at the Aqueduc as well today. Enough chit-chat, let's get this show on the road.
Let's race.
Okay, as we roll off the line here today, I thought I'd provide some live commentary. Hopefully I can make my way through this race. I'm still not sure where my legs are after yesterday, to be honest. It's a really odd one, but I feel okay. I'm imagining I have a tickle in my throat, but I hope that's just an imagination. We'll find out. So, strategy today, straightforward. As usual in FRR, just hang on as long as you can. I have a feeling that people are going to get dropped today after the Pave sprint and the first Aqueduc. I think people like me are starting to get tired. So I think there's a definite chance of separation there. And of course, the Petit again. Like the other races, I think I need a 5-minute power PB or close to it just to stay in the front group. That's going to be really hard today. So we'll just see how we get on. I'm liking this pace though. Keep this up, guys, please. Somebody off the front already. I wonder if it's the same chap that tried it and succeeded the other day. Well, the first 10 minutes or so has been a bit of a Snoozefest. Although there is a guy off front, and it's the same chap that went off front in, I think, stage 4 I managed to make it stick. So I'm surprised none of the other CIP riders are chasing him. But I'm not chasing, that's for sure.
And, of course, pretty much right after I said that, people start chasing, and chasing hard. This effort lasts for a good 1.5 kilometers before the Lone Ranger is brought back. Looking back at the footage, I can see that this was a good 2-minute effort at around 6 watts per kilo for me. Something I sure didn't need with the Pave sprint and the Acqueduc coming up pretty soon. The Pave sprint wasn't too bad. The sprinters went off as predicted, and then I pushed high but steady watts until the group starts coming together again. Still, I think we lost 1 or 2 riders here from the front group. I guess some riders just don't like these 30-second accelerations, or perhaps they're just caught out and then struggled to catch back on. The pace didn't settle down, however, and people kept pushing quite hard between the Pave sprint and the start of the Acqueduc. If you pay attention at the little chart next to my beautiful face...
Oh, isn't he handsome?
You can see when riders are dropped, as the number in the front group, in blue, go down, and the numbers below the blue group grow. I was ready to go all out on this section if needed, as I really didn't want to lose the front group this early in the race. As we go up the Acqueduc, I have to push quite hard, but I don't think I was ever in danger of losing the front group. Although again, if you look at the chart I mentioned, we can see that at least 4 or 5 riders did not make this selection. After this effort, while the pace stayed high, not too much happened. Yes, the speed did pick up at the Ballon sprint, and as well as on some of the rollers, but I didn't think it was unmanageable. However, when looking back at the footage, I can see that we actually dropped another 4 riders or so on this stretch, which surprised me a bit. Okay, at this point we're now approaching the start of the Petit climb.
Okay. Let's try to survive up the Petit as long as we can. I will lose the group here today. I am feeling ready, but let's give it a good crack anyway.
We will speed up the footage here to see how I managed the climb. I pushed quite hard at the start, as I want to at least stay with the front on the flat a bit, right after the initial kicker, as there is a lot of draft to be had here. I then try to keep high, but steady watts, until we get to the next flattish section. I am starting to drift slightly behind the front here, but so far, so good. I then make a bit of a push to catch on again, and manage to stay pretty close as we reach the next flattish section, but I am starting to really feel the effort here. The very front of the group is riding away from me at this point, but I wasn't too worried about them. Even if a CRP rider is up there, they're just not going to gain that much time on me until the finish. At least I hope so. So I keep plugging away at my pace. Though looking back, I am not sure if I made a bit of a mistake here. When the new Swift graphic showed up at the top, indicating where we are on the climb, I see that the red sections seem to go on forever. I wasn't quite at the limit, and I think I could have pushed a bit harder here, but I did hold back since that red line just seemed to go on and on. However, instead I really should have looked at the course profile just below the Swift graphic, since that showed we were almost at the top of the climb. And then, of course, the Swift graphic changes as we get to the summit. Now, I was very happy to see this graphic change, of course, but also a bit annoyed at myself, as I could have pushed harder here. Whether I could have stayed with the very front, or at least the group 10 to 15 seconds ahead, if I knew I was getting close to the top of the climb, rather than focusing on the unending red section, I don't know, but perhaps I could have had a go at it. Either way, lesson learned. We have now skipped forward to the start of the Pave sprint, and we have around 2.5 kilometers still to go. We had caught up to the group that was some 10 seconds ahead of us at the top of the climb, apart from
Mr. Andersen.
that is Mr. Bjorn Andersen, who had gone away solo from that group before we caught them. And while the pace had stayed high, especially up the Acqueduc, the group had stayed together. People pushed quite hard on the Pave sprint. Whether that was for sprint points or just to tire the other riders out, I don't know, but I pushed hard here as I didn't want to lose any riders this close to the finish. After the Pave sprint, the speed stayed high, and as we approach 1 kilometer still to go, I am preparing myself to keep pushing hard. The group is pretty strung out at this point, and I'm just surfing the wheels to save what energy I can, and I get out of the saddle with around 500 meters to go to prepare for my sprint. Or perhaps we should call it an extended effort, since we're all quite tired here, I think. We get to around 250 meters to go and people start really pushing. I give it whatever beans I had left, and I roll across the line in 14th place. I was super happy with this effort today, especially considering what happened yesterday when I completely blew up. Now, a quick look at the results. In the end, I finished in 14th place. Well behind the winners, but I think only 10 seconds or so behind the fastest CRP rider, which was, as you should know by now,
Mr. Andersen.
Overall, really pleased with this result, especially considering yesterday's disaster. To put this in perspective somewhat, I managed an average of 285 watts today. And since I coasted quite a bit, and we had a long descent where I didn't push any watts at all, I could easily have had a much higher average today. However, yesterday I managed around 265 watts in the ITT.
You are soft, weak!
And it was a similar length effort. Still can't quite get my head around that, but water under the bridge, as they say. Okay, a few final thoughts before we end the video.
Okay, a few post-race thoughts as usual. Well, that was a lot better than I thought, especially considering how badly yesterday went and how bad my legs felt. There was just no power at all yesterday with a massively high heart rate. So I wasn't terribly hopeful going in today. And if I'm honest with myself, I don't feel great, but better than yesterday, that's for sure. So the race went pretty much as I thought it would. A bit of a Snoozefest up to the first Acqueduc, where there's a bit of pace injected, and I think there was a bit of separation. I could see that our group in the front did get smaller. And then pace settled down, a few attacks, nothing major, and we get to the Petit, and today I knew I'd be dropped by the front guys. I just knew I wasn't going to be able to produce, a 5-minute PB, and that I think would have been required today. But I thought and I hoped that none of the other CRP riders could go with them either, and if that would be the case, the E-gap loss wouldn't be that bad. And that's pretty much what happened. A few of the CRP guys went off the front by about 10 seconds. We did close them down eventually, but I also tricked myself, stupid, towards the top of the KOM. I should have just looked at my source for Swift chart, and that tells you when the climb is over. But I stupidly looked at this pop-up that comes with the new update in Swift, and it just showed a red line that just kept on going. I was like, that can't be right. But that's what I focused on. And then all of a sudden, climb was over. I was like, oh, annoying, but great, the climb is over. But in hindsight, I probably could have pushed harder there because I had a bit left in the tank because I was looking at that long old red line. But again, it wouldn't have mattered because we did close those guys down anyway. Apart from Bjorn Andersen, who went off the front on his own. Clearly a very, very strong rider. Chapeau to him. So he soloed, and I think he took first spot in the CRP division. ahead of the rest of us who sprinted for the line. In the end, I came 14th, I think. Probably about 10 seconds behind Jorn in E-gap. I'll take that all day long today, especially the way I'm feeling. So, all in all, happy, surprised, but happy. And we're still here, we're still fighting, and we go on till tomorrow. I think I'll end it there. Another shower, more rest, and hopefully we'll be right as rain in the morning. This is Sam, trying to spin to win on Swift, and I'll see you in the next one.